my scissors and my photo prints, sailing through the waves with my best friend, trading maps for pretty paper and some tape, making memories every single day.
Hi there, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to Mixed Media Mayhem, where we're supposed to be using a torn edge, some ink, and some items from the Iron Crafter Challenge, which this month is buttons, brads, eyelets, sequins, or beads. You can choose anything or all of them. I'm also playing along with May I Scraplift You, and the layout that I'm choosing today is from Jessica Hobb at Kids to Scrap on Instagram. And I'm also using these paints today from Apple Barrel. I've got Real Navy, Sage Green, Bright Green, and then from Delta I've got Crimson. And then I also have a digital download that I am using from Etsy from Allegra Digital. And I wanted a nod to Alice in Wonderland, but I didn't want to invest a lot in buying a bunch of paper or anything like that. So I am going to kind of create my own. And I've got a ton of photos from the Wonderland restaurant that we visited on board the Royal Caribbean Harmony ship. And so I decided to pull out these rose-looking floral flowers. These were from MK's shop, I believe. I think they were in the, not the shop. I think they were from the Advent calendar. Maybe 2 years ago. I don't know. But I've had them for a little while. And so, yeah, maybe it was last year. I'm not sure. I can't remember these things anymore, you guys. Time kind of all runs together. So anyway, I'm going to use those because, you know, in Alice in Wonderland, they paint the roses red. And so I'm going to do some drippy painting. But first, I'm going to give my background a little bit of a blue coating. I'm not going for a solid look at all. I'm just going for kind of just a colorful look, or a light coating, I guess is what you would say. And I really like it. I've also cut a bunch of 3x4 cards because I know a lot of the photos are going to go into pocket pages. So I'm using my leftover blue paint, and I'm painting a bunch of these blue or these white 3x4 cards into give them a blue coating because I want them all to match. Now, you're not going to see me do all of the pocket pages today. The video would have been extremely long. So I'm actually splitting up the course of this layout or these photos into 3 days because, yeah, it's a lot. So I am starting with the group photo today, just like Jessica has in hers. She's got a big block of photos. I rotated her sketch, so my large photo is going to be at the bottom, and it is just one photo where she has multiple photos. And so I'm liking that a lot. This is a I did cut out a lot, you guys, so I apologize that you're not getting to see everything. This is a stamped image. It is from a company called Do Crafts, which I don't even know if they're around because I think they've been bought maybe by Studio Light or something like that. They are Gorjuss. They're called Gorjuss, Gorjuss, and they've got like these little girls on them that have like eyes but no nose and no mouth, which is a little weird, but they're super cute. And this frame came in a pack of them. I will, if I can find them online, I will put a link down below for you. So I used multiple stamp sets like this, and maybe I will take a picture of the stamp sets and drop them in here as well for you. So I used multiples of the stamp sets because they have not just the little girl, but many of them have frames or leaves or borders, or one of them has hearts, one of them had clocks. So I used a bunch of different things from them, but I didn't use any of the little girls because, well, I didn't feel like they went with this layout at all. And I don't use those very often. So, in fact, I haven't used these stamps in ages. So I'm not sure that they're even still a thing or not. So I did use a gold pen, and I went around the frame to give it a little bit of gold. And then I used a silver pen in some of the areas to kind of make the lines a little bit more solid, but give it a metallic look. And then I also brushed a little bit of Stickles. What is this one called? Solar Flare, Stickles Solar Flare glitter gel randomly around it. So I needed a large flower, much larger than what was in the stamp set. And so I just painted a big red splotch on there, and now I'm going over it with a black Sharpie to kind of look very similar to the other ones. These are actually really easy to do. You don't actually need a stamp set because they are supposed to look wonky and a little bit unrealistic, I guess. And so yeah, something you could easily do on your own if you didn't have the stamp set. Same with this little leaf design, you know, a squiggly line with some haphazard circles hanging off of it. But I do like the stamp set, so I'm going to go ahead and use it because I've got it. And then I'm going to go ahead and I kind of masked off where I was stamping so I didn't, or I was cautious about how I inked up my stamp there so that I don't actually stamp the stamp right over the actual flowers because I didn't want that to happen. So I was very conscientious about where the ink kind of stopped and started on the actual stamp. If you wanted to be even more careful, you could easily just block it off with a post-it note and then you wouldn't have that problem. So I am going over it with this bright green, which I really love the bright green with that deep red and with the blue background. I think it looks really cool. I will tell you that I didn't really think through those other leaves, the ones that look, I don't know, the pointy leaves. I'm going to call them the pointy leaves because there's so many lines that overlap. I should have painted my green on first and then stamped it, so I will have to do a double stamping on that one. Thankfully the stamps are clear. Well, I can either do a double stamping or I can use a Sharpie, and I think I actually did go over it with a Sharpie because even though the stamps are clear, there's so many lines, just getting it not lined up right seemed like it was going to be a bit of a challenge. Now, I'm also not really sure what's going on with my video. It on my phone, which is what I record with, it doesn't look choppy. But as I am sitting here voicing it, my video looks a bit on the choppy side. I don't know why that is. It's something I need to look into, and I'm not really sure what the cause is, or if it's because the video was just a really huge video or what. But I apologize if it looks choppy when it renders and makes its way up to YouTube. I'm not sure how it's going to come out. Hopefully it's just in my video editing software. So I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that that's the what's going on here. So I have this, I don't know, diamond looking stamp. It's a background stamp. It was wood mounted at one point. I have unmounted most of my wood stamps, which I don't have very many of, but I unmounted them, and I kept the few that I really liked, and that was one of them. And so I stamped it with a little bit of VersaFine watermark ink or embossing ink, and I embossed it right onto the background. It's very hard to see it in the video, but in real life I can actually see it because it gives that glossy texture. So you're going to just have to trust me on that. At the end, I am also going to add a little bit of Dylusion's Funky Fuchsia spray ink, but I'm not going to spray it. I'm going to brush it on. I don't know if I actually show that in the video. I may have done that later, and then when I was working on the pocket pages, and then yeah, I may not have captured that in this video, so you might end up just seeing that in the close-ups where I have brushed on some Funky Fuchsia Dylusion's ink, and so that's going to give a little bit of nod to the pink, which this cut apart sheet has quite a bit of pinks on it. Also, my layout from Wednesday had that pinky purple on it, and so I kind of wanted to try and tie it in a little bit here and there, and that was kind of the best way I could figure out to tie it in, because I didn't even think about it when I was creating this layout that everything else, that original layout was purple, and it really just doesn't look the same. But I'm okay with that, you know. My whole theory about pages next to each other matching is that in a magazine, it doesn't bother me when there is an ad on one side and something else on the other side that I'm like reading, or some other picture or image. And my scrapbook is going to be the same way. So, you know, pages that are facing each other don't necessarily have to go together. So here is my torn edge, and it's a bit of a cheat because it is hidden. I tore the frame as well to tuck it in. I'm tearing this Ace of Hearts. That is actually an actual playing card. Actually an actual. It is a bicycle playing card. It's a jumbo index playing card, and I went ahead and used it because well, first of all, I wanted to use some playing cards on this layout, and that's what I had on hand. And this deck of cards is at least 10 years old because it's one from, I think, when the kids did 4-H camp. So maybe more like 15 years old, and it hasn't been used since. So here it is. It's getting used. It was a perfectly good deck of cards, though. I mean, they were in great shape considering how old they are. But I'm going to go ahead and use them. So I am now working on the opposing page, which is a pocket page. It needs 2 cards in it, one 3x4 and one 4x6, and I hadn't put any paint on a 4x6, so you just saw me do that. This is a 4x6 card, and I'm going with the same rose stamps and the drippy rose look to be kind of like, it's not really a title card, but like the main featured card on this particular page. So I had to go ahead and use more paint for that, and then I'm going to ink up my stamps. I've got them placed pretty much where I want them, and then they kind of look like eyeballs that are cross-eyed, but it doesn't look like that when it's all done. So I am using the remainder of the frame on here, and then I have this stencil that was from MK from one of her monthly boxes, I believe, and so this stencil is no longer available, but I thought it's kind of like a nod to that same diamond patterned stamp that I used on the other page. I'm not really sure how I feel about the black inking, but I'm going to go ahead and leave it. There's other things that are going on here, so it's not like the main focus or anything, but I probably am not going to do that technique again, just because I thought the black kind of, I don't know, I kind of like the bright and colorful feel, and not necessarily too much of the black. And so, yeah, I might have done that in a different color. So I probably won't do that technique again throughout the album, but it's not super in your face or anything when everything is said and done. So then I took this 4x6 card. These are actually 4.5 by 6.5. They are just cut down if they're going in the pockets. This green one is not cut down because it's just getting cut apart, but I slapped a little bit of that bright green paint and that sage green paint on there, and then I used the pointy leaf stamp, the middle and the small one from this particular set, and stamp those on there. I am using my edge distresser to just distress all of the edges of the pieces that I'm putting in here. I take that back. I didn't distress the label and I didn't distress the frame, but I am distressing the cards, the little piece from the cut apart sheet that I had on a digital download, and I don't think I distress the actual blue tickets because it's so small, but yeah, it could have been distressed. Just use your fingernail because it's so tiny. I think I just used the really, really small one on this particular layout. But anyway, I'm going to tuck all those pieces in and use a little bit of liquid glue to adhere everything down. And then I thought I would use, wow, that was really fast. I'm using this lined notebook stamp. It's from Close to My Heart, I believe. And I just want the lines. I don't really care about anything else. Which is great because that's all it is lines, and that's going to just give me a journaling spot. I did stamp this one, the first one, a little bit crooked, so I stamped it a second time. And then this picture of MK, I didn't want to cut it down at all. It fits in the pocket as a 4x6, but the image was actually not 4x6 because it's a digital image. And so I didn't know what I was going to do with that white edge when I printed it, but I made sure that it was all, the photo was right justified, so that white edge would be all together. And then I could potentially do something there with a little embellishment. But what I chose to do was just stamp that viney looking stamp again and paint it in with some of that bright green paint. And I really like how that looks. If I had cropped the photo down, you wouldn't really get the whole view, like all the way down to her feet, or, you know, it would either cut off the top of the chair or her feet. And I just didn't want to do that. So I decided to go ahead and leave it and just fill it with this cute stamp, which really just filled the spot perfectly since it's really long and narrow. And I like the way that it came out. I think it looks really cute. And then I'm going to take 2 of these leaves and put them as a corner embellishment on my journaling spot. You will see the journaling, you'll see the journaling in the still shots at the end of this video, but I actually didn't do any of the journaling until the very end of my multiple page layouts. So over the course of the next couple of days, you're going to see even more. That is it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. I did add some sequins in there, as you can see, for the Iron Crafter Challenge. And I've got my torn edge, and I have my ink. You can see the pinks in this layout in the corners, and that's where my inks are, and then plus the ink from the stamping. So that is it. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you have questions or comments, leave them down below. I'll be back again real soon with another one. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.